So I'll just say what anyone who's watched even 5 minutes of this show over the last decade already knows. Mika's smart, she's strong, she makes people in power uncomfortable, and she fears absolutely no one. You'll be reminded of all that when Mika and Joe join us at the top of the hour. Right now, we've got Donnie Deutsch with us. Donnie wearing shades this morning. What's up, man?
I had a little work done, and I just am a little self-conscious about it. So, but
what'd you do? Like a lift?
Just a little eye thing.
Little tuck?
I just a little, but yeah, I'm a little sensitive to it. So.
Okay, good. Washington anchor for BBC World News America, Caddy K. I don't know if the shades stay on the whole show. We'll see. Oh, there they go. Okay. Former Democratic Congressman Harold Ford Jr., former aide to the George W. Bush White House and State Department's Elise Jordan, Pulitzer Prize-winning historian, our friend John Meacham in Nashville, and senior politics reporter at USA Today, Heidi Prisbella. There are a number of factual inaccuracies, Caddy, in the tweets that Donald Trump put out. Joe and Mika have posted an op-ed to the Washington Post. People can read that ahead of them joining us in just a few minutes on this show. Just your initial reaction to what you saw yesterday from the president.
It's really hard to see this as anything other than sexist and vicious. He was incredibly personal. He used the office of the presidency to launch an attack against a television anchor who every morning does her job. And he did it in a way that was vindictive and bullying. And it's very hard. Even Republicans, I think, would agree with exactly everything I've just said, most of them. It's very hard to conclude anything else because it shows us an awful lot about his temperament and the way he criticizes those who and goes after people who he feels are critical of him.
Donnie, you've been critical of a guy you've known for a long time in Donald Trump, now President Trump. Were you surprised by what you saw yesterday?
No. First of all, you know, he picked the wrong schoolyard to come into. I have to tell you this. You know, I'm not an employee of NBC, so I'm going to go thug here, okay? I'm sorry, because Mika is a friend of ours. She's a good woman. She's a great mom. And he's a pig. He's a vulgar pig. And I find what's ironic about, you know, Michelle Obama says when they go high, we go, and when they go low, we go. When he goes low, I'm going low. You guys will take the high road. I'm going to take the low road. He's physically disgusting to look at. I mean, that's what I find ironic about the way he starts to always go after other people's physical attributes. So beyond the fact that he's obviously not well, and Joe and Mika have a great comment, he's clearly, obviously obvious misogynism, the obvious vulgarity, the obvious stupidity. He's not mentally okay. And this is a man with nuclear codes. We have to start paying attention to it. And he's disgusting to look at. I know everybody's going to say, Donnie, but no.
On so many levels.
No, let me tell you why it's not irrelevant. Because enough is enough. Enough is enough with this disgusting, vulgar man. And to talk about women that way, and the irony is that you physically look like you do, beyond the stupidity of it. You're a pig, you are a bully, and you are doing disgusting things to this country.
But Donnie, doesn't it lower again the discourse to say what you said about his physical appearance?
You know what? It absolutely does. And maybe it's time that we all stop tippy-toeing. I'm taking the low ground here. You know what? He goes after a woman that way. He goes after a friend that way. He is a vulgar human being. He's vulgar to look at. He's disgusting the way he behaves himself as the president. And I'm sorry, I probably won't be on the show again, but I'm sorry.
Put the shades back on. Elise, your reaction.
I was just absolutely horrified, stunned. And it's surprising because not very much about Donald Trump surprises me anymore, given his complete lack of character, integrity, and his utter unseemliness occupying the Oval Office. But to launch an attack like that on a woman just because you don't like what she's saying about you, and there's something about smart, strong, substantive women that really gets under Donald Trump's skin. And to just make up this complete strange lie, which is quite creative, because I sit by Mika a couple days a week, and if she's gotten work, I want to know who the plastic surgeon is, because there was no sign whatsoever, and give me his number.
Well, that was one of the factual factual inaccuracies in his tweet, but I'm going to let Mika entirely address that in just a few minutes. Harold, I'll get your take. I want to show the front page this morning of the New York Daily News. The headline is "Humiliation with an American bald eagle with its head bowed." The New York Post editorial page writes on Trump's tweet simply, "Stop, just stop." On Capitol Hill, Trump faced widespread condemnation from members of his own party. Senator Lisa Murkowski tweeted, "Stop it. The presidential platform should be used for more than bringing people down." Tweeting at the presidential office's handle, "Do you want to be remembered for your tweets or your accomplishments?" Senator Ben Sasse of Nebraska, he writes, "Please just stop. This isn't normal, and it's beneath the dignity of your office." It went on like this all day. Congresswoman Barbara Comstock, a Republican in Virginia, the tweets went too far, please stop. And more spoke out, worried about the example and the agenda for the country.
The President of the United States ought to be modeling the best of behavior. He should be an example for children. He should be an example for all of us.
This is maddening. It's maddeningly frustrating because this is beneath the dignity of the President of the United States, or at least it should be, and it's a distraction. And it really, ultimately, it starts to undermine the President's ability to get his agenda done.
This is not about policy, it's about the person. It's about President Trump as an individual. I want to help him. I want him to be a successful president. Tweets like this are inconsistent with the greatness of the country and the office.
It's hard to figure. It's just, I'm just embarrassed. I mean, embarrassed isn't the right word. I just regret it. It doesn't astonish me because it isn't the first time that he has attacked various people that he has disagreement with, but so I'm not surprised, but I'm disappointed.
Obviously, I don't see that as an appropriate comment. I think, look, what we're trying to do around here is improve the tone and the civility of the debate, and this obviously doesn't help do that.
So, Harold, the reaction from Democrats and Republicans, you saw a lot of Republicans in there alike, was a swift rebuke of what he said. And you hear frustration in their voice. They're trying to get things done on health care. We're talking about the travel ban implementation last night. We're talking about what happened in Mosul overnight, a push to begin the liberation of ISIS-held Mosul in Iraq. A lot of things happening in the world that deserve the attention of the president, and this is not one of them.
You wonder how his supporters will react. And, Donnie, I thought you were right. You're justified in your reaction. If you disagree with someone on television, then state the issue. Lay out why you disagree. Lay out the policy justifications. And he had every right to do that. But to go after someone the way he went after, and I'm more dignified by even repeating the words, is everything Donnie said and everything that's been said this morning. Repulsive, unjustifiable, and childlike, and simply just reprehensible. You have to wonder, what have we become as a nation, however, if he's not condemned by the people who put him in office? Because it says more about us than it does about him if he's allowed to get away with this. And I'm only hopeful. I'm eager to see and interested in seeing what the polling results may show. But I'm more interested in seeing how his supporters, be it networks, be it individuals, be it groups of people, how they respond to what he did yesterday. There are no words, and I thought Donnie's physical reaction was more than justified this morning.
So, John Meacham, we've heard, to answer part of Harold's question, we've heard from some of the extremes anyway, support, you'd expect it from Donald Trump's hardcore supporters on this question, said it was justified based on some of the things that have been said on this set, that he had a right to hit back. You heard it from the White House, that they said he hits back when he's hit. Sarah Huckabee Sanders saying the president is tough, he's smart, and he's a fighter.
Yeah, you would think, Morning Joe was a sovereign power that was presenting a threat to the fundamental interests of the United States.
To John Meacham to put this in perspective this morning.
Yeah, no, I mean, are we on a watch list? How does this work? To me, what links this and what makes this significant beyond the sovereign power is the question of fear. He fears people who are intelligent and who don't approve of what he's doing. And Mika Brzezinski is one of the most fearless women I've ever encountered. And he's one of the more fearful men I can think of in our public life. Bullies are those who are insecure. And so he punches when he feels cornered, when he feels that the world of his own construction, but when even the world of his own construction is not a congenial place for him, he punches and lashes out. And I think